Hello out there, and seeing that this will be the last video I post of 2017, it is a great time to do a recap of the year, a review of 2017, focusing on all of the knife companies that I collect from, and just my take on, what they put out this year and my feelings on some of those designs. I do already have a top 10 knives of the year list that I will link to down below, so you can check that out if you like. But this video is going to have just a little bit less structure. It's going to be more of a conversation and me chatting basically about my thoughts on, each of the companies that I collect from and where they've been this year and where they're going to be going. And so what I will do is I will have a collection update video coming soon, because there's just no way to get everything that happened in 2017 in front of the camera in such a short video. So like I said, I'll be updating the collection. If you want to see anything in particular, you'll have that opportunity coming up soon. But for now, let's just start with the first company that I want to talk about, and that is Benchmade. So Benchmade's 2017 was an interesting one for me. It was one that I was not excited about at all from the start. All right, I wasn't looking forward to what they were putting out, because so much of their 2017 catalog was focused on OTFs and a new balisong and some knives that just didn't seem that interesting to me. And that actually changed over the course of the year. At the beginning of the year, I said, I'm not even going to worry about any of those new models. I'm going to try to hunt down some of the models that are on my list that are old and discontinued that I never got my hands on. The best example of that is this 960 I was able to get. A few other ones, certainly two that I'll talk about in future videos when I do that collection. But for the year of 2017 and the releases, yeah, just didn't really have that much excitement. But then I ended up picking up a Freak, and I really liked that knife. Didn't think I would, but the Benchmade Freak was a great one. It had a decent price point, good steel, really good and strong, a good user, and I was impressed with that knife, and that sort of started to turn things around. And then Benchmade went and they released a couple knives that they didn't really hype up. The Bug Out here was only announced a couple weeks before it came out. It wasn't part of the big lineup at SHOT Show. So no one, at least as far as I know, no one really knew about it. And then all of a sudden it was here within just a couple weeks. And this knife, I liked it a lot out of box. I thought it was a pretty good design and a nice answer to like the 530 and 531. But then when I slapped on these carbon fiber scales, it became an absolute home run for me. So this knife has definitely been a big part of the year for me, something very, very cool to have. And Benchmade did it again with the Mini Loco. And again, not really announcing things, just sort of coming out with it quickly. And the Mini Loco, I've heard some good things about that knife, but certainly when you look at their 2017 releases on paper now, for me, it does look a little bit more appealing. Now, as far as Benchmade goes, the number one thing for the entire year has to be the sentimental one. I guess at the end of the day, the knives that have that personal connection to me mean the most. And so this knife right here that I've shown in a few videos now and will continue to show, like this one, just was the most important piece of the year for me. The Benchmade Proper, a really, really generous gift from my buddy Konstantinos. An excellent slip joint. It's really changed the way that I carry knives, because I carry this one all the time, and it's the most I've ever carried a slip joint, so very cool. Good little blade. Super excited to have it in the collection. And yeah, again, just that personal touch, the generosity is what really goes the longest way. One other thing that's really cool about this knife is that my buddy Stasa23 has the same blade with his channel name on it as well. And obviously we got them from different places, but it's just very cool to know that, he has the same blade with his channel out there. Yeah, just another cool thing about this blade. All right, but now let's get into CRKT. And I'll be honest right off the bat, I pick on CRKT probably more than every other company. I rag on them sometimes, and it's always out of love. I like CRKT. I like their design so much. And the one thing that I want for them is for them to capitalize on those designs and for them to make products that are as good in quality as they are in idea. And I saw a little bit of that this year, and a little bit of innovation and a little bit of just upgrades and variations that I always hope for from them. And the main thing with that is this squid right here. So the squid, a Lucas Burnley design, has gotten a number of different versions this year with G10, orange G10, carbon fiber, and all of them are Blade HQ exclusives, but they're all still relatively inexpensive. So just a great home run of a design that's just been upgraded and given us as consumers just options. You know, anytime there's a hit design like this, I always want to see more options. What else can it be in? What else can they do with it? And so often with CRKT, there's a good design and then it just goes away to die. And they move on to all the other next great designs, but so many of them aren't capitalized on. And so seeing the squid here was very cool. Very cool to see them do that. Now, these other knives here, the stainless steel frame locks, one, that's definitely the bread and butter, I think, of CRKT. They're doing a great job with stainless steel frame locks with this Vizzle here, with the Pilar, the Liangma Remedy this year. I liked that knife a lot. The larger Jettison is a stainless steel frame lock as well. That was a pretty good knife. So, and a popular one. So, yeah, there is just a lot of really good quality potential in the simplicity of those stainless steel frame locks, and they did a great job with it over the course of the year. It's a ton of fun to modify them. A ton of fun, as you can see with this Vizzle, and then the number of Pilars I've done. I can't even count how many Pilars I've worked on already. So just a bunch of them, and yeah, just a blast. Just a blast, good quality, very simple knives to take apart and put back together. So yeah, I've had a lot of fun, and definitely a high point of 2017 has been working on those knives. Some of the models I didn't really care for. Well, only one really that I didn't care for at all in particular was the Ox, with the AUX, which is a Lucas Burnley design, and didn't care for that folder one bit. He did come out with another CRKT later in the year. It's called the Sketch. And that's just a really extremely inexpensive knife. I think like $15, $18. And that was actually a pretty solid little blade. I like that one a lot. A good option for just an extremely low budget user. Almost had like a Wharncliffe, nice red and black like handle color. Cool knife. But for me, again, the highlight of the year for 2017 with CRKT is definitely the stuff with a personal touch. I'm always going to come back to that. And this one right here is just an awesome piece. I did a trade with a CRKT Jettison being the traded item with my buddy Jacob. Jacob, who has been watching and supporting the channel since almost the very beginning. So I modded a Jettison for him, and he modded one for me. And this is the work that he did. The beautiful, beautiful work that he did. Just an awesome knife. And one that you don't see on camera very often, you don't see on Instagram very often, because I don't carry it. I sort of just keep it safe. You know, I just like having it. I like keeping it exactly the way that it is. It's a very nice piece that means a lot to me. But I will be carrying this on New Year's Eve, be ringing in the new year with this knife in my pocket. Just a great example of the camaraderie that develops within this community, and certainly all of the great people that I've met because of this channel. So yeah, great little blade there. Now getting into Kershaw. Kershaw had an interesting year. Kershaw has an interesting year every year because they put out a ton of knives every year, and some of them are great, some of them are crap, and a lot of them are just okay. And no exception there this year. The high points for me were definitely this Vetter. The Kershaw Vetter was a very cool overseas produced knife, actual G10 overlays here. So I really like this one. Bronze washers. The manual flipper, the Fraction, that was a really good knife. Really like that one. That's a Jens Gonzo design. And then certainly of all the things that I saw from Kershaw, the Dividend is the best thing of the year. You know, I'm not into autos. I can't carry them where I'm from, so I'm not going to talk about those at all. But for their USA-made knives, this is really the be-all, end-all for 2017. You know, the Dividend was a budget knife, came in a number of different variations. All of them were great. The FRN version was great, the regular aluminum handle one, and then this M390 version is awesome. And I really hope that what I have been hearing is untrue. I hope that this one comes back into production and becomes a regular part of their lineup because, yeah, just the price point of this knife and the dividend in general, it's definitely a good deal and a big credit to what they are able to do. You know, knives like this show us that Kershaw can make a great knife at a good price in the United States with good materials. So definitely would like to see a lot more of that from them. You know, with the budget stuff, the overseas stuff, I see a little bit of improvement from them over the course of the year, just in quality from previous years, in innovation, materials, and quality of build. And I can tell that they're trying to keep up with some of these like overseas companies that are just producing knives at really, really inexpensive price points. And I'm just not sure if they're taking big enough steps in order to do that. You know, but like I said, this Vetter was a good one. The Fraction, also the Malt from the beginning of the year. I really liked that knife. It was a little bit more flashy than stuff that I'm usually into, but the quality of like the lockup and the way that it flipped open and the way that it felt in hand and was in use, it was a big surprise. And so the Malt was one that definitely had a really positive impact on me, and so did the Reverb. The Reverb was another good one, just a nice like carabiner kind of lightweight knife to attach to a pack. They did a good job with that one as well. So definitely some good stuff coming from Kershaw. Hopefully we'll see a lot more of it being high quality in 2018. So as far as ZTs go, I actually did pick up a number of zero tolerance knives this year and sold them all. None of them were 2017 releases, so I actually begin and end 2017 with the same one ZT in my collection, the 0770CF. So we'll see what ZT does for 2018. Hopefully something that is innovative and affordable. That's what I'm shooting for. But now let's get to the winner of the year, and that is definitely 100% Spyderco. Spyderco wins the year. In my opinion, they won last year too. They're just doing things on a different level than everybody else. From original designs like the Sliver Axe, which was one of my best of the year, to all of the different variations and updates of previous models. I'm just very impressed and satisfied with the kinds of things that they're doing. You know, the Sliver Axe was a great one. And even if you don't want to call it a brand new design, like the Shaman was another great one. And the Para 3, which actually came out like the last week of 2016, you know, had its heyday all year long with all the different variations. So just a lot of great new stuff from them. But then if you look at stuff like this Delica Packawood and this Chaparral in Raffir Noble, you know, the way that Spyderco goes about taking a pre-existing design and making it appealing to other people is just, it's just genius. And it's something that other companies should do. And the fact that Spyderco does it on the scale that they do is just very impressive. You know, the Delica for me has always been a timeless design and I've loved it, but I've always wanted a more high-end steel and high-end handle material. And now, you know, in this Delica Packawood, we've got something that's robust. We've got something that's like classier looking and more high-end with the steel. I am probably going to end up selling this knife, but that doesn't mean it isn't great, you know, and looking at the Chaparral, the same thing, you know, going from the titanium scales, which were really expensive, to something that's just as unique, if not more so, in this Raffir Noble, but at a fraction of the price, is genius. And it takes these great designs and puts new life into them. And I understand that as a collector, a lot of people, you know, might be bothered by just the number of things that are coming out because it's impossible to keep up. You're not going to be able to collect them all unless you have a ton of money and a ton of time. You know, people who are into the paramilitary twos, it's got to be frustrating. I get that. But as someone who is a casual, you know, a casual collector, you've got so many options from Spyderco, and it's just so smart what they're doing. And sorry to just belabor the point, but it's just awesome. It's awesome being a collector in this day and age with a company like Spyderco producing knives the way they do. You know, and getting further into that, talking about steel, the stuff that they did with Maximet this year is just another indication of how they are on the cutting edge where almost no other major production company is. You know, there's about a half dozen steels that they produce regularly that other companies just don't. You know, they're pioneering things, and it's just awesome to see and great to be a part of. So, you know, while I am always going to be a Benchmade guy, Spyderco definitely wins the year. You know, a whole ton. I can't even list all of the great models that I got from Spyderco this year. There's just too many to count. The one that stands out the most, again, the personal aspect. Beautiful mod here from my buddy Nick Maffei on this Spyderco Pingo. Great little blade. Definitely going to be part of my collection probably forever. So, yeah, this one, not a 2017 release, actually 2017 discontinued knife. But, yeah, as far as my collection goes, the high point of the year. All right, and now let's get into a couple other companies that I've recently started collecting from or have gotten knives from for the first time. And we'll start with Kaiser. None of these knives are 2017 releases, but I've been saying for a while that I wanted to get my hands on a Kaiser. Never had, and in the last half of the year, I picked up quite a few of them. Thanks to the Vipon app, which is now defunct, I think, but yeah, I was able to get some really good deals, and these two Vanguard versions of the Beg Lighter and the Dukes, I've got a top 10 things to know video coming relatively soon about those, but just wanted to say about Kaiser that I've been extremely impressed so far. They've made a great impression on me, definitely needed to be mentioned in this recap because of just how good those knives really are, and the quality that you get. It's just impressive, and yeah, I wish I'd actually pulled the trigger and picked one up earlier than I did. But the Rogue, as you might remember from the top 10 list, very high on that just because of how great it is to EDC. Really, really like this knife. All right, one other knife that I got, a company that I bought from for the first time this year, was Southern Grind. I actually did get this knife used, but it had been on my list for a long time. This is the Spider Monkey. Review on this is coming soon. Again, not sure if this was a 2017 release. I think it's older than that, but just definitely a big deal to get this as part of my collection. And then two more actual 2017 releases from different companies that I'd never had knives from. This is Rake. The Rake Fang, an excellent knife. Again, I will say the most surprised I've been from a knife all year long. It exceeded expectations so much, just the quality of the build, the look of it, the price at 37 bucks, just an awesome blade in this, and really looking forward to more things from Rake. I think they only have about like 10 knives in their entire lineup, so hopefully 2018 will be a big year for them. Also need to thank my buddy Bill, again, for loaning me this Ferrum Forge Falcon. My first experience getting something designed by them or built by we, so just a very cool experience to be able to check that out. I'm going to finish talking about Gonzo. And I know Gonzo is a company that's sort of a highly debated topic because a lot of people like them and a lot of people really don't. And what I will say is that over the course of 2017, I saw the quality of their knife production increase. And it was already pretty decent at the beginning of the year for a budget knife, and it has gotten a whole lot better, markedly better, as time goes by. And for all the people who don't like them because, you know, they tend to copy designs of pre-existing knives like these two, well, they are now producing their own original designs. So again, as 2017 ends, 2018 begins, I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on one of those and seeing where Gonzo goes as it starts to become a more reputable company, I guess. So yeah, I've already liked their knives, but those new designs, the original stuff, should be very, very cool. So that's really all I have, guys. That is the review. Obviously, in 20 minutes, I am not going to be able to talk about the entire year. There's just too much that happened. But what I am going to do is bring back the knives that mean the most. You know, the personal connection. I've said it 1,000 times, and I'll never stop. The personal connection with all the comments and all the feedback and the conversations I have with all of you. And then anytime it turns into something like generosity or a trade or whatever it is, it's awesome. It's what this is all about. And so as I finish 2017, I just want to say thank you again to all of you. Best wishes. Hopefully this was a great year for you, and that 2018 gets even better. All right. Any other questions, comments, complaints, suggestions, let me know down below. But thank you again for watching. Thank you for your support, and I will see you in the new year. Take care.